saying, I just want a new life.
It's so hurtful to the one who's behind, and oftentimes when the wife finds out the husband's cheating, it's not the first time. And that comes out that this has been going on all the time.
Right.
You know,
and it's usually not a one-time event in a later life.
It's been a pattern. There are a lot of people who are not capable of being loyal, and they don't see there's anything wrong with it.
But if it happens for the first time that the woman finds out
so
later in life, it must be very devastating.
The betrayal is so deep
and
it's
hurtful.
Also
usually somebody younger.
And that leads us to the so-called Viagra divorce that you have teased us all with throughout the entire program. Explain what that term means.
Well, what it means
in case anybody needs to know.
If there hasn't been any sex in the marriage, and then she finds the hidden Viagra in the closet, which I've had a number of times, because he's now having an affair, he's having problems because he's older, and now all of a sudden he wants a sex life, you know, but not with her.
Okay. But again, that's that bond, that physical bond, the sexual bond, the affectionate bond. That's what has to keep happening in order for the couple to really enjoy being with each other for the rest of their lives.
But what happens when there has been infidelity and one partner or the other says, okay, now I want out? Because I've seen the grass on the other side and it definitely is greener. What do you advise to those couples who've made the decision they're divorcing, but it's because of infidelity?
Well, first the affair has to stop. But if they're divorcing because of infidelity, the question is whether they've tried to work on it or want to work on it. For some people, it's impossible to get over the betrayal, especially if it's been multiple times.
Okay, Bill Donahue is a professional mediator, and he's on the telephone lines with us. Bill, we're almost out of time, but if there has been infidelity in a relationship and the decision has been made to end that marriage, what's the best piece of advice you could give them for moving forward?
The best piece of advice that I can give them is to end their divorce through mediation rather than the litigation process, because there's so much anger there and there's so much hurt and pain that they're the kind of people who need to sit down and resolve the divorce together as a problem that they can move forward through. In the litigation process, that's very, very hard to do. So that's what I would recommend to them.
All right, great advice. I hope people take it. It sounds a whole lot easier to do or to hear than to actually do. William Donahue, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Lynn. Bye-bye.
All right, so I just have to chuckle at Lynn Goldbicken over here, kind of with a little skepticism on her face.
Well, we negotiate. You know, I don't like mediation because they tend to push on the weaker party to settle, and then they call me and say, "Why did I do this?" But I just want to say one other thing about the affair. Oftentimes, the affair that the woman, assuming the husband's cheating, is not going to let him stop. So the girlfriend starts calling the wife, and the guy is just sucked in and he can't get out.
And often, even if there have been attempts to stop and they're trying to work through the divorce, when people find out that it's still happening, it's a blow up all over again. It really does contribute to tremendous amounts of anger, even during the divorce process.
Libby said, when you're a widow or widowed, widower,
they're very sympathetic.
People are sympathetic, but when they assume there's another party involved,
they assume that there's another party.
That has to really hurt your pride as well.
It's very painful.
Yeah. Even when it's not. I mean, even if there's not a third party, for people to make that assumption, like, people are looking at the Gores going, and that's not fair of all of us to do that.
Well, because we know people lie about it all the time, and even when you don't think someone will, they do.
Okay.
And how could you get your husband or your wife to stop cheating?
Well, especially if the third person won't let them stop.
Exactly.
That happens a lot.
Look at John Edwards, for example. My goodness, that relationship with that woman, Rielle Hunter.
You don't think she had her hooks in there?
That ended with a child being born of the marriage, and Elizabeth stayed with it for such a long time?
It didn't end. She's still there. You think that she's going to let him get away?
Well, she has that child now. Right. But Elizabeth Edwards has finally said, enough is enough. I gave it 30, 40 years. I'm not giving it anymore.
Right. She has to take care of herself.
And how about Sanford?
Absolutely.
How much more insulting could he have been?
Yes.
Yeah, the love of my life.
Oh, please.
Okay, well, we have had a great discussion here. We've gotten some great advice. I do want to thank everybody for being with us. It was really nice to have you back with us. And Libby, you are such an inspiration to women, not only of all ages, but of a particularly mature age group. And we want to thank you so much for telling your story.
Thank you. I hope I've helped people.
Oh, you're great.
You will.
I hope I've helped people because there's so much of this out there.
Okay, on that note, we're going to thank you for being with us. And until the next time, we thank you for watching. I hope that you'll join us again. Good night.